That's how I wanted to open this video. Welcome to the 11 and 11 ancient remembrance, ancient Tartarian original seeds from this planet jailbreak, because that is what is in progress right now. I didn't even know I was going to do this video. It's been one crazy day over here in my world. So I need to come over here and share how this all went down, just to protect myself, number one, because they're always wanting to blame us for stuff. And they're always, I personally had to get our ascended masculines cleared of over 200 court cases that they were going to set up on all of us from getting out. Everything's been going down in Texas today. I don't know if you're watching my tacos. If you're not, you should. You should, because there's a couple of things that I'm doing over there. Number one, what I've been doing is setting up for this escape. What I've been doing is, after 4 years of code gathering and claiming, and once you go through this process, when you get to the end where something's getting ready to rebirth out of it, what happens is you become isolated, especially in these grids, depending on who you're around and what support is around you. If you're one like me, and you're an ancient like me, and you was on the first round like me, then you didn't have anybody around you that was supportive. Not one. In fact, your family, your friends, anybody that came into your reality was in a vector and was just coming to pull your gaze and your focus into an alternate setting, or and was coming to give you a experience in order to test you for what you've claimed and stated. So the more that you claim, and the more, and all of us who were ancients, we didn't have any other choice. This first round, we had to claim the sky, we had to claim the air, we had to claim King Tut, we had to claim Cleopatra, and then we had to go claim all the other queens that were printed in our stead, because we were the ones down here that held the charge to your original electric system. That original electric system, if you go to Hollywood, and you go to Hollywood Boulevard, and you're over there in Anaheim, right there by the Hyatt and all that, by Walt Disney World, you will see an original record cosmic electric grid that was still running. Right at the corner, on top of this building, they have a bell, and then they have this thing that goes down that looks like it goes like a record on a needle, and it's lined up to that street, and it's hooked into all the hotel system, and it's hooked into Disney. All of it's hooked in underground, because all that's been happening down here is that it's layers and layers and layers of sediment that has been falling on top of all of us every time the human race had an ascension. Until now. We're talking millions and millions and millions of years. Every time the human race had an ascension, and one of us got out to claim, do you know what happened every time we claimed? The sky fell. Snowed. An ice age. Sand. Wind. Avalanches. would land on top of us every single time, because there'd be one of us that got out, the rest still underneath. And because everything, what, and it happened to me, this is why I can tell you, because it happened to me, and I was able, with the ascended and in this quantum vector, because of how these spheres were merging, and because we had claim at this point to both sides, not just one side. It had been going on so long that then the space race and L and all these different factions that nobody knows about, which is what I'm going to get into in a minute. There ain't very many people on this planet that know about the entities that I have personally been dealing with for the past with them. This is also why I know what I know, and this is also why I knew I could not stop. Those borders that are being opened all over the United States, as above, so below. Why the hell do you think that they're letting in all those different melanin tuned people into our country? It ain't just, that's not really what you need to worry about. It ain't necessarily the people that are coming in all the gates, but as above, so below. So if we have no gates, and we are letting all these beings in on over here, down here, then guess where else you're letting them in? In space, in the spheres, the merger of spheres. Well, y'all seen those big octopuses that are underneath the ocean? You seen those big freaking fish and all that are starting to come up? Are you wondering why you're just seeing them now? Because of the entities that are coming in from outer space. And let me tell you, what they do that we don't do here as humans, which is mind-boggling to me at this point, is work together. All humans down here think that they can do everything by themselves. They don't think that they don't need nobody, and everybody knows everything. That's how the hell they can do it to you. And I'm saying doing it to you because today I pull out of it. And I pull the ascended out of it. Now, I say all that because over there on TikTok, what I'm also showing you is how you can use your technology, your social media channels, your Instagram channels, your TikTok channels. You can use all those things in order to not only manifest your new reality, to get out of slippery situations, to make sure other people know what's going on, which protects you in consciousness, which is how the hell we've done this whole shift. It's why I've been on here for 4 years. More longer than that. I don't know if you remember in 2017. Do you remember what I was over here screaming? Here I am. And what else? I was telling y'all all about the Alpha Draconics, wasn't I was standing on top of my house screaming, I'm an Alpha Draconic. I know I am. Like, I'm not bad. I don't know if y'all remember back in 2018, but if you made a video that even had those words in it, it was shut down from the internet. Nobody was talking about the way that the world has changed just since 2018 because of the tools and what I'm telling you and showing you on Taco and on here. This is how, as an individual that is interdimensional, because you become interdimensional once you clear. Once you clear, now you're in nuclear energy. Nuclear energy. Nuclear. New Earth is made out of nuclear energy. Nuclear. The machine that was holding all your ancients underground that everybody just wanted to forget about and just keep building all your shit on top of, which ended up becoming your own body. And this is how people are dying and getting fried. Because it's laid on top, 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 and then you forgot about the bitch down there. or it's just a given. Antarctica, and the reason that Antarctica is even frozen is because they were using cold fusion energy. So basically, what they were doing was coming and frying all of us, sending nuclear waste, sending space waste, sending basically like a airplane that drops its load of poop or whatever from the sky. Every time that you do a 10-year ascension in the old Mason counts, every time you would do a 10-year ascension, even just a tenure, all a tenure. If you're gonna hit tenure, then the whole human race, what was happening is a mini ascension, just like we had, except it was much more controlled in a vacuum. And they'd bring on the energy. They could watch just from afar to see who lights up, who's connecting with who. And that really is how your entertainers were all found. Your entertainers, and most of the people that started out entertainers, even in the 50s and 60s, and this all led to political things, but it started out in, well, it started out political, and then it went entertainment in the German World War because they started using them in tandem with propaganda in order to control people. Because we was all dead in an AB machine, and that's how it was working. So when that's what World War II was all about. It was about bringing the sedation down another layer again instead of up, and then reworking all of the DNA of who was royal and yada, 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 yada. And that's the last time that you saw most of us, was around that time frame. But it was longer ago than just 80 or 90 years ago, or whatever that is, the 40s. So I say all of that because for us, what ends up happening is as we, for the next year, for the next 3 years, I know for sure, but the next 2 years are going to be the biggest, 2024 and 2025, August and November. August, we're going to have a bunch of souls getting out of here. You can't just get out anytime you want. And you can't just fully get out, fully ascend out of the sun. I'm talking about full-blown resurrection ascension. You can't do that just any day, any time. It happens in a cycle, and it happens with a group, with a collective. So I was leading this last phase in order to do spheres, connect everything, connect the portals, and G-Core a simulation, and then basically go through all the different planets and get the planets back into some type of alignment. And now I know that's why I'm a hidden astronomist. That's why my charts are so crazy. That's why I've got all those planets in Libra, because it's basically like we've got us Librans all had those planets lined up right there. They're all in my chart. So for right now, as Venus is stepping through Libra, it's hitting my Mars, right? It just went over my Mars. It's about to hit my Pluto. When it gets up to 14, it's going Sun, Uranus, Moon, Mercury. And then it basically is tuning all of those planets to the new Venetian codes that have all these different layers, and your ether's back, and the story, and your different, and the different consciousness pieces, and all the stories for all the different lines that everybody's written that are in the book, because I just had the connectors for them, right? Which is a proper ascension. So the reason I'm saying that is because FYI to all my healers and to you personally, basically everyone's starting right now and preparing for next August. And next August, it'll actually be, and it'll start shutting down around June. Meaning After we get through this little gate here in November, and it's all starting again now for all of you, if you to start claiming your lines, you're going to start getting more information again, new information, deeper and higher information in all of your DNA codes. We'll probably in December and January go through another crash course where we're doing all the studying and we're communicating and we're doing all of that, right? You know my email, I think, Anthony, so email me. Then what's going to happen is that in June, that's going to start setting. And so in June and July up until August, you're going to do pieces of what I was just coming on here talking about and what I'm going to explain that went down here in Texas, where you're all the codes, you've got all the colors now, you've got basically a whole truckload of quantum codes that are going to mean something to you because it's inside the program. As you start claiming these codes, what happens is your world gets smaller and 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 smaller. And it sucks. I'm not even gonna lie. It sucks. Because you're super freaking conscious. Because basically you're having to stay clear to set. Plus, you're being tested on if you're gonna reattach. So it's like you can't be like full etheric and yeah, I'm this and this and this, and then bitch, get my fucking food. You kind of just undid it. You have to walk the walk. And so that's why everyone wants to call everybody Queen of Swords. That's why the Empress is called the Queen of Swords. That's why the Queen of Swords. You got to be the Queen of Swords in order to get to the Queen of Hearts. Definitely, if you're down here on Earth, there ain't no other way. Queen of Hearts ran the world for a while. How's the world looking to you? Okay. And you definitely, when you're in this bubble now, your Queen of Swords is also becoming the Queen of Wands. Because what you're also doing is you've claimed all this. Now you have the power of it in the bubble. Now your bubble's super clear. You've got all these different little tools. You've got all your white magic. You've got everything that's built up. You've got to learn how to use it with you personally and with your collective and your group. That's how it works. June is when that's going to start setting again. August is when it's going to bust. August is when a whole bunch of y'all, we already saw it with the lights falling from the sky. It looks like stars falling from the sky. We've seen it in Germany this year. It looked like lights were descending from the ground like souls. You could literally see the souls coming out of the planet and going up. All of us by next year will know that that's what's happening. Because your soul, all those souls are literally descending or falling. Now, from August until November, because whenever you hit all clear, now you're clear, but you're now in a nuclear energy. You're not on this energetic plane anymore. You're in new physics. And so it's not as traumatic once you break out of that bubble. It just depends on how much you've mastered, because as soon as you clear a layer, you're not done. And I say this, and we learned this a couple of years ago, man. As soon as you clear a layer, don't look down. Look down. Look up, look to your right, look to your left, and get ready. Especially in this quantum age, in this merger of spheres, because there were military ops, there's winter soldiers, there's you know, your entertainment groups that hold a lot of different powers and abilities that we don't know nothing about, that were ruling those layers, because of course they were right above you. That's what it was. They were walking on us, you know. So it's like once you clear and you're attached to the earth, you're attached to the collective, you've got all that energy and power, and then boom, you're a new star in the sky. And then everybody's like, whoa, who the fuck is that? What the fuck is she? Right? That's what you start entering into after like the Lionsgate time, and into September, October, and then into November. And then in November, what happens is a type of merger to where it merges all together again, to basically start to reset again, because it's giving you a new roadmap for the next year. But every single year, down to the day, and this has been going on since 2017, but it's going to get more and more strong, because every single year to the day, for sure the next 2 years, I can promise you the next two. After that, I'm praying that we're done. It's just going to depend on how many rise and you know what's going on, because we're not controlling this like they were. You know, we're letting it be humanity. We're letting everybody get their life back and their new lives and all of it play out. Today was my November bust. So in between, because really since August, I haven't been doing much. Now, number one, because whenever you get on this was the first round. And so it's like I was kind of sitting up there by myself. I was sitting down there by myself. I was able to get all out, and then I was sitting up there by myself. And since I was sitting in the ethers by myself, that's why I've been diving in and out of the sun, and I've been the one using all these maneuvers and posting the airplanes, posting the jets yesterday. We used that today. Because whenever I'm over there posting jets and I'm over there jumping out of planes and I'm showing you this and this and that, then what I'm really doing is showing you what I'm doing in the ethers, and what even I'm bringing in the ethers for the crew to be able to do it even. Because a lot of the times that's I'm just pulling in the resources, because I'm linked to earth and I'm down here and I've already cleared everything. See? So this is, and I know it sounds a little bloop, 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 but I'm telling you, it's how it works. What'll happen is you'll start intersecting everything on these time counts, and your signals, your colors, your everything, that your personal Akashic library of what all these things mean to you, because of the signs that you had throughout the years that you've been clearing, is how you end up building up that clear bubble to be able to maneuver and understand it. Well, all of a sudden today, now it was in August. See, this is where August and November are overlapping again. It was in August whenever I finished the maneuvers at the AC Hotel and all that stuff went down. And it was a lot. It was a whole lot. Because I'm the one that they were attempting to basically put back into hell. They were accusing me of being some type of demon, and I'm causing havoc in the world, and it's all my fault, and this is how they've gotten away with it for so long. And so one of the main things that crew has had to do is to set it up so that it could be seen and shown what was really going on. And to be honest, that was the hardest part. And it's also why so many of us had to deal with it a lot longer than we should have, because that us keeping our calm, us not losing our shit, us not attacking the way that they would expect us to attack, but waiting for the cosmic alignments and waiting for the energetic to maneuver, and each one of us working together in a tandem to pull things off, proved that we were divine, and proved that, meaning that we were purified, that we weren't housing any demonic low frequency energy. In fact, what you're seeing is us having to deflect it and get out of it. And what was also shown to these beings that were watching us is just how many one of the attacks on us affected. Well, it's not the place to talk about it on here because we don't promote drug use at all. And cocaine is a portal. And there's a whole list of other reasons that you're addicted to it, I'm sure, or had a problem with it, or they're focusing it on you. But if you want to email me, but please let's not put that on here because I don't want to be blamed for any bullshit at all right now. Can't afford it. Funny though, last time I talked to you, that woman Katie that was in the house that was with the Middletons and the Rothschilds, the one that was at the house where we contacted last time and things got all fucking weird, the Anaheim King Cookhouse, as one of their favorite conversations to ask me about that particular drug. FYI. That might help explain what's going on right now. When you're getting out of black magic, and because realize that black magic is even just somebody writing your lifetime, which is what they's doing. They did it to all of us. That's why we've been over here screaming. Everybody thinking, oh, ascension, blah, 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 blah. Well, I've got my name. I've got my path. I know what my family is. No, you don't know what it's like whenever they come and erase all your shit and start jumping in, which is exactly where we're at right now. It's why we have them surrounded. We have them surrounded in the ethers from Sagittarius to Libra, and this is all about Mars. And a program that went into Mars that overrid Venus to the point of putting us all into a black hole. Now, over here in Texas, yesterday we had a Pasadena power plant blow up. But we knew that we were coming out of the core. I'm not surprised. In fact, I'm waiting for more explosions to happen. It's pressure changes. If anybody's on here, if anybody knows anybody, because I've been telling everybody, but nobody wants to listen. It's pressure changes. You need to check your valves, especially on portal days, because it's pressure changes. And when we leave from down there, you fucking feel it. You fucking feel it. Every time some of us come in, somebody's got to die. Every time one of us ascends back into our story, a story in a lifetime that was stolen from us, somebody's got to die. See, that's everybody says the Illuminati sacrificed him. The Illuminati, well, not necessarily. Not in this new timeline, because they're dying all right. But they're only dying because the real character is claiming. That part. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing people die. If you were under any contract, if any of your family was ever in entertainment, any of your family was ever in movies, any of your family was ever in the military, any of your family was ever in NFL, NBA, NHL, any of the news broadcaster, if anyone in your family or in that you know of, or even if they're dead, if they're dead, it's happening to you because you're still in it. If you had contracts on you, then when you're not conscious, which all of you are because you're watching me, and I'm telling you all this so you can know this to express it to everybody else. I'm so fucking sick of seeing people die. We had 2 NFL players that were killed in Houston in a car wreck this morning. A plane 15 minutes from my house, whenever I went to do a final November maneuver, which was to get me off the AT&T satellite pole, where I merged with an elite being in 2021 in order to hold this ray and to hold this charge, because they weren't allowing any unions and I didn't have another choice. And we had to have some, this is where the brotherhood and the sisterhood, and the brotherhood always fucked over the sisterhood, because the brotherhood knew all about where the sisters were. And they also knew whenever we come out, we have nothing. And they also knew that the plan for Ascension, and this is what Bellatrixian codes are, and this is why Bellatrix wrote this in these 33 and 44 O blood programs, was because what you'd consider your elite people were supposed to, and we're twins with a lot of them, and they were supposed to come in and then basically pull us into the industry, and then we would be changing the industry from the inside out. We'd make our connection, we'd hit our ray, and it would have happened slower. Everything would have happened more slowly. Everything would have not been such a shock, okay? And there is no if it's supposed to be this way or not, because it is how bad things were down here, that our plan didn't work, but it didn't work because we had to completely get out of the system. It wasn't even allowed for us, angelic star crew, ascended, purified, to enter into the industry, because in this time, the industry was completely taken over. The government completely taken over. Everybody had been taken over by this galactic, artificial mirror, reverb, REM type of consciousness that was being run by 6 beings that had their little play and their characters, even from the entertainers. This is how the entertainers ended up getting involved, not understanding what they's getting involved with. Because whenever you're in the industry, they had their own backlog of story that the characters would play out like a soap opera. Personal life, propaganda, whatever. It was all scripted, because you're signed up to be a character for the industry. Okay? And then each one of those characters is backed by corporations, backed by governments, backed by whatever. Whoever is paying for that person and pushing all their energy to that one person. And that, in this timeline, ended up being the Amazing Race in Ascension. I haven't been going up against other real natives that weren't in the industry, or that weren't in a politics, or that weren't made with full knowledge and full backing from countries, from NATO, from financial, from AT&T, from telecom, satellite, Elon Musk, like government, Russia. That is what we just had to come from. That is why I'm made the way I am. And it's why all y'all got so pissed off at me because it's why the whole thing the whole time looked like I was being so ego and me. Well, I hope you understand now why, because that is the ascension that everybody was going through. And if you weren't a super soldier, inbred, freaking down at the core of the earth, like connections out to L and freaking all the galactic portals and the stargates and by yourself, you couldn't have done it. It's why we all had to work together. It's why we all work together. And then beings like me and the ones who, because a lot of y'all were doing the claiming, a lot of y'all did a lot of claiming that allowed me to claim higher, because that's what I had to do. I had to overclaim lizards. I had to overclaim reptiles. I had to overclaim Babylonians. I had to overclaim Superman, L, all that crazy ass shit. And I'm saying all that because that's what's laid in the ethers. And it's also what's starting to hit the realm. And what we're starting to see now is all the wars, basically, that were going on up there, us just trying to get back in here. Trying to get out, and then we had to get out, and then we had to get back in. Because only 2 of us got out. Now, what happened today is that I got let out to 380. And in August, once I got out of the canopy, once I got out of the AC hotel, which is where we brought down the entire handler system. And the other thing was we were starting, and it's so funny that I never saw this before. So crazy how the Babylonian spells work. AC hotel also stood for Antichrist, y'all. Now, this blew my fucking mind. And this is why astrology and the wheel, that's why I have to use the wheel as a telescope to tell you your astronomy. But what Kohu 32 is and what I do over here is get you out of the wheel. In fact, all of us used Kohu 32 to ignite our starseed body and blow this wheel, which is what we did today. We blew Scorpio. We basically blew it up to Eagle again. And that's why we have him surrounded. Because right now it's like the Mars and Sun is sitting in Scorpio at 20 degrees like a wizard holding a wand going, oh, connect to me. And Libra's way down at the beginning. Venus is way down in Libra in Alpha Draconic Notice 1, holding all the energy away from their bodies, literally, so that they can't have a connection to us anymore. And we're rewriting all the human codes so that these entities can't mirror in, replicate, jump in, which is what they've been doing. This is all this, what this COVID bullshit was freaking all about. And it's been going on for so long to the ancients, especially to your princesses, to your queens. This is why us women know about this. You boys don't. Y'all always got the lot for locking us up. Us women, we know how to get out of this shit because in our lifetimes, that's where we always went. And then realize that's your other half of you. So what happened was the McKinney Airport, because I'm out here on 380 again. I'm like 5 miles from the crossroads. And in my little bubble world of driving codes and connecting things for these final etheric connections on the spheres, it's why I haven't been rescued out of here yet, because I can't leave here until I finish everything. Cause I laid all the codes here. I can't leave here until I get everything connected and unwound. 3 days after, in August, after I left the Canopy Hotel, and this was dealing with the Hilton, which is basically Hitler, German, Nazi stuff, and Strawman. Strawman, financial masonry, as far as the real estate grid, how the entire machine works from the United States, how it, because it's a big machine. We're humans. It's like a human money. It's a human cash register. If you, when you start understanding the ley lines and start understanding how the cash register works, then you get a, I got a, because when I proved St. Sarah, I got a list of real estate of that I should have control over. And it happens to be most of the real estate, and this is why Trump is in so much trouble. Now, all that being said, I left the house in order to go to the store. I didn't know which store I was going to go to. I ended up going to a store that the last time that I went there, I went in a panic. I haven't been able to have telecom, any type of AT&T service, Mint service, any of that, because I've told y'all my L4, L5 disc was patented in order to make your telecom. All of us ancients are your internet. We are your telecom. We are your fiber optics. This is why this is all so insane. And I had my parents in August. Al and Martha had left. They were in the Tahoe. We were still under major attack at this point. It was right after the Lionsgate, and they had left, and Al had a flip phone, and they had left the flip phone with me in case I needed to get a hold of him. And I never get scared in my house, never, because I mean I can pretty much slay anything, and I really don't get scared. When I get scared now, it's like I get scared because I get scared. All of a sudden that day, I had to bar up all the doors. Like I just knew any second somebody was going to come busting in this house. And so I know that on another timeline, on another something, you know, something was going on. So all of a sudden I tried to call, because what I saw is that my parents aren't safe. Now they happen to be at Costco. And I had already had to run a maneuver back in 2018 at this Costco. So I was trying to get a hold of him. Well, as soon as I made the phone call on the flip phone, and it's an AT&T line, it hung the line. The phone froze. I couldn't close it. I mean, I could close it, but I couldn't turn it off. It was attached to their phone number and literally hung up. And I started frying. My energy went into total chaos. My teeth were chattering, and I was freaking out because I was worried about Al and Martha. I was seeing all these timelines and knowing all the wrecks and stuff that we've had to come through. And so I jump in the car, I redrive the route, and I go start trying to find somebody to use the phone. And over here in Cloneville on that particular day, and now I know it's like because I was attached to that energy ray, it's like everybody was scared of me. And I was in a panic. And I don't even know what people see whenever stuff like that happens. And so I'm going into places asking if I can use the phone, and one of them called me a bitch. Like, it's nuts. It was nuts. I was like, I can't get a hold of my parents. I'm really concerned. They're elderly. My phone's frozen. See, it's frozen. Let me use your phone. One of them, the first one was like, I'm going to call my manager. The second store I went to called me a bitch. I was like, what the fuck? Finally, and I knew we manifested him. Now, mind you, I'm not even really sure where I was, right? Because whenever you clear that high and that, just like I'm telling you, we're doing space maneuvers right now, and etheric plane and atmospheric and sub maneuvers. You think that you're where you are, but especially if you hit an energetic ray, kind of like I talk about jumping up into a different technical platform, that's what had happened, but it wasn't pleasant. But I'm in Cloneville over here. And I hold the charge for it. That's why they got me gridded, and that's why Texas is what the fuck it is. And it's a big deal what's going on in Texas right now. So we manifested a guy. I knew we did because he had codes all over him, and he let me use the phone. I got a hold of my parents. Now I'm saying all that because what happened today is and that was a store that I swore I'm never gonna go back in again because they wouldn't let me use the phone. I'm never gonna go back there. Well, all of a sudden today I was like, I had to go to that store. When I went in, and as I was picking out stuff, 2 women came in. Now realize that if you're like me, and there's really 2 different versions of us. Some of us are more external, some of us are more internal. If you have more of the Christ body codes and you go through more of the body changes with the earth and the collective, then you probably are going to be more internal. If you're not constantly feeling the earth with your ovaries and with this and this and that, but you get it more from the outside, then you're getting all your codes and you're doing it more external. Whenever you're an internal being and you externals, as you start getting it inside you, that's like the second level. You have to get internal. Okay, so nobody escapes this, but I want to explain this. What you're doing when you go out into public or even sitting at your house, whenever you claim, and your story is, even though you're sitting here in your house or you're just walking around Texas or doing whatever, there's another alternate story that's either written for that character or is being run for that character. Now, follow me. So when you're super still in your bubble, waiting for it to pop, this is why every single being that comes into your reality, I mean, every single one, somebody showing up at the door, people coming into the store, especially if you're in you know, if you're going through a clearing in a 0 point on portal day, the people that come into the store are following your scent. There's the 2 women came in this door, 2 blonde women. So what you're doing is pulling in those DNA codes, and those people don't know. They don't know why they went to that store at that moment, but it's the same reason that, you know, on the way to the store, you might have stopped, you might have circled the driveway, you might have sat in your car a minute, you know, all these little things that us ascended do that people think we're flaky. No, we know it's not time yet because we literally see these other people en route to get to that store, because there's 2 people that needed to be with us to claim, and what you do is you pull them in and they don't even know it. You pull in those 2 characters, and now you've got 3 that are in that DNA sequence, which ends up being able, because it's what's happening in the other timeline. So what you're doing is gravitating these different people. That's why you'll see, if you have a twin, you know, you'll see like 20 different versions of that dude or that woman. You'll because as you're getting closer to union, you're magnifying these almost like different versions into your current reality, even though it might just be a salesperson that shows up and it's a salesperson at your door, but it looks almost just like him, or they look like someone that you just had to call some stuff off of, or it's a particular race that you know that you're dealing with. When you get it to the 0 point, that's what's happening. And that's how we're doing it. whenever you're conscious of it, then when you, now that I'm telling you this, if you didn't know this already, and understand that I didn't know this about myself. I was told, because somebody got mad who was trying to come against me at one point, and she got all pissed off. She was like, oh my God, I know how you do it now. And I was like, really? Tell me. I want to know. Tell me how I'm doing this. That's what it is. Our codes just send out a signal, and if we're in trouble, people will show up in order to give the energetic and the codes in a bunch of different situations, but claiming is a big one right now. When I left this and I rang up 5522 on a 77, there's sevens everywhere. And this and 7 is an angle. 7 is just basically an angle. It's an L. So I go to the car, I get in the car, and then I now have a flip phone. I worked with one of the Essenes, Danielle, who came in, and let me tell you, I mean, what all we had to do to even get me a telecom line on a jitterbug phone. I'm the most advanced technical being in the world, and I have a jitterbug phone right now, y'all. Seriously. I'm grateful for it, but it just cracks me up. So I have the flip phone, and all of a sudden I'm sitting out there and I've got to call Danielle. That's when I realize, oh shit, this is really connected to that Ray and that phone call that I made that day that hung up my line. Whether AT&T glitched me and they hung up the energy line like a lightning bolt, or if I just went up so high that it caught it, whatever it was connected today. So I'm on the phone with Danielle. Ironically, I've got to go back to AT&T to do some stuff for my parents' account and this and this and that. I'm having to cut the Cavills and Henry Cavill and Scientology and the laboratory people. Yesterday, we had to do a spell breaker on Sydney, Australia, the State Theatre, which is... Now we know where they were doing a ton of their black magic spells, especially in the entertainment world, and a bunch of sacrifice, crazy ass shit. And we broke that big gate, is why all this is even coming up. Because that gate was holding out of Australia and Sydney, and all the theaters, all of them, including El Capitan, which is in Hollywood, which is the one that me and my son had to clear. The El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, attached to that snake that's on the ground, literally. Now, I'm talking to her, and finally I can leave because I'm talking to her about consciousness. Whenever you're in any state where you feel like you're under attack, even if you're in a nightclub, let's just say that you're even in a nightclub, and it's getting too dense for you. Go talk to somebody about consciousness. What I always do is, like, as soon as I walk into a club, I bullshit with the door guy about, because if they're outside, I'm like, hey, look at the stars, blah, blah, blah. You know, I naturally do it. I don't plan it. But it's why I do it. Because if you talk consciousness to the door guys, then basically what you're doing is setting up energetic tent posts on the whole fucking place. FYI. So if ever you feel like you're in some type of dense thing with a bunch of people around you, and you feel like, just find somebody to talk something conscious with. And what happens is it'll start blowing up, and then at least you can kind of see, because it lifts up the pressure, so you can start using your dimensional sight, and then you figure out what the fuck and where it's coming from. When you're in it, you can't. You gotta lift it in order to see. So I'm talking to her. We get a plan on the whole AT&T thing. Then all of a sudden, I've got to go to Taco Bell. Now, mind you, I have not been to Taco Bell in years at this point. But let me tell you all the shit we had to do with Taco Bell. Taco Bell in our world was it was connected to portals. It was connected to Mexico. It was connected to aborted tissue. It was connected to laboratory baby tissues. It was connected to like DNC tissue, like babies. Taco Bell and fairies and portals and babies. Okay. So all of a sudden, I've got to go to Taco Bell. Problem is, Taco Bell's on 380, same road, but I've got to go past my neighborhood again. My neighborhood, at the very front of my neighborhood, I haven't been able to pull in to the front since I found out on November 8th that the woman was killed there on November 1st. A woman was hit by 2 cars. Nobody saw anything. She's just walking. A mother of 8 was basically murdered at the front of my neighborhood in order to send death to the neighborhood. Is what they always do. It's what they do. They want to kill people around you so that the death energy will overcome you, or they're killing people around you so that that soul will jump in you. So I've got to pass by that. I'm talking to Danielle. We're having a conversation on the flip phone. And then I pass the crossroads, which is basically like the Nile. And it's all drying up. And I pass over the crossroads. I get next to the 5G tower, and my car engine starts going out. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Same thing happened in California. Same thing happened in California. It was in California. It ended up being an electrical thing. Now, mind you, Kia and the car dealerships are a big thing in our world as well. And me and Natalie and the stuff out of Detroit and Motor City, and this was linked into Saudi Arabia, and all of them basically using our body codes in order to create flying cars and all this crazy shit. So we literally had to get ourselves out of being a car at some point. And both Natalie and I drive black Kias, and this whole Kia thing became a thing. There was even a Kia Demon that I had to deal with in California in 2021. I should have been able to get rid of that car a long time ago. Al wouldn't let me sell it. There's been this whole thing because everybody was against anything that was going to actually free me, even though they weren't realizing that's what it was. So now the car's glitching, and I've got to go circle. Now I'm scared to go into Taco Bell because I'm circling. You know, it's like, is the car going to stop? Is it going to stall? Just get me home. Well, I came home. I don't know what's wrong with the car. Engine light's blinking. I know it's a ray. We hit that ray. At the same time, whenever my car starts blinking and glitching, Danielle in Florida is sending me pictures because all of a sudden the sun is out, like blaring. It was overcast, everything. It was like all within this 5 minutes, this ray connected. I get here and I am not planning on leaving again. Screw it. I'll make dinner, whatever. I come upstairs. I have to send some messages to these AT&T Indian motherfuckers that have been fucking with me for 4 years. I had them basically on a line, and I was holding, well, they were coming back in to intercept the energy again, and I knew it, but I had them on there to wrap this up is what I was doing. But I was also being tested to make sure that I wasn't going to fall back into my old pattern. So I had to come square off with those people. And then all of a sudden, my Martha suggests that I go to Taco Bell again in the Tahoe this time. And in my head, I see it because this whole time, I mean, originally when we were coming in with the 300, when we were coming in with the 300 in cryo from what you'd consider Star Crew on 2 ships, our ship was tethered to Dad's ship. We had 2 ships, and our ship was tethered to Dad's ship. And what happened was Dad's ship, they were waiting for us as we were coming into the gate, and a ship came out of the left-hand side and just fucking nailed the front ship. Boom! So what happened was that front ship went spinning to the right, and we tethered to them. And I knew that we had undone, like, and without, and healing that's why I had to heal my parents and healed the military program and the Mormon Remnant B program in order to get out of this, because Martha and Al were some of the first basic, like, they got clones linked into them too, you know, because of the families that I was placed with and hidden down here that were sucking all the energy out of Martha and Al's family lines and all the stuff that was going on with the remnants and military, because they didn't have anything. It's these mimic L people that now we're having to deal with down here as masses, but this is how long it's been going on, that they had developed full-on family lines on the other side, all based on our program and our names. So I go back to Taco Bell, and you can watch this on Taco, but the main thing that ended up happening is as soon as I got back and doing what I had to do there, I get back and that's when I see that in McKinney, which is 20 miles, 15 to 20 miles down 380 to the right here in Texas, just down the street, there was a Cessna plane that fell at the McKinney airport. It crash landed into a car. It crash landed into a car around the same freaking time that my car started glitching. Is why I even told y'all that whole story. Now, it's not the first time that we've had a plane crash with us coming in. The bomber crash that happened last year at the air show here, that was us. I mean, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. But that's to the extent of what's going on whenever you're changing these ether and time patterns, and to the extent of what they're doing to try to fuck with it. I woke up this morning talking about Austin. Austin. The other thing that happened in Houston, in Austin today, was a SWAT team standoff. Some dude was stabbed, I think, don't quote me on this, I know 2 died. 1 got away that was being stabbed. She called and said, I'm being stabbed. I think 1 got out of the house, 2 died, but then there was a complete SWAT team standoff and 2 officers died. The NFL crash in Houston that killed the 2 NFL players killed 6. So we had 4 dead in Austin. We had 6 dead in Houston. Nobody died, I don't think, in the plane crash. But Texas and United States of America, you have no idea what you're dealing with. You have no idea what type of entities you let into this realm. The ones of us that were here and laid by the forefathers and laid for this literally did time and penance in order to be able to deal with these dark entities. The ones of us who freaking signed up for this crap and have been called the devil, called evil, called every name in the book, and this entire time, let me put the dog on the bed, so that we'd be able to battle these motherfuckers in a high consciousness whenever they got here, because it's the only reason all of it was ever allowed to begin with. And what y'all just did was sentence all of us and try to blame all of us while you handed the keys to the city to the galactic demons and they just rolled up in here. Now everybody's getting upset because the Chase accounts are missing and you've got 300 people this morning that woke up to no Chase accounts and they're just vanished. Nobody knows where it is. It got assigned to somebody else. What do you think they've been doing this whole time, stealing everybody's information and identity theft? You think that it's just because they just sold it to nobody? No, it's a galactic entity they sold it to, and they wanted your goddamn life. They want your skin. They want every energy current that you're connected to. We ain't holding it up anymore. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not leading it. No damn fucking way in hell. The Air Force is the one who put me down there. The Air Force knows all about it. The Air Force, the CIA, NATO, all you motherfuckers, you ain't getting sight on us. You can't use us to blow your bombs. You can't use us to freaking, you can't use our jets. You can't use all of our equipment that you have everywhere that you've re-engineered and programmed our bodies to it so that you can blow up shit because they've been using all of us to do all that. I mean, I made the news 2 years ago. Biden called me a freaking weapon. They weaponized us. But it's funny because they weaponized us, but then they've been using us as weapons, but against all of you and against whoever. We don't ever know. We just all of a sudden see tree lines and shit, and we don't know that we're getting. And then we see that's where the Russian bomb dropped off. Oh shit! Well, that's what I was seeing in my vision. Well, it's because they were using our technology in order to do it. Our technology never left us. It all works in a unit. That's why we have them surrounded right now. We have them surrounded in the ethers. But as far as getting any help from an organized way down here on land, we ain't doing it anymore. Not until you come forth and explain to everybody and introduce us. And there's a ton of different ways that you can do that, government. There's a ton of different ways that you can do that, Google. There's a ton of different ways you can do that, White House. Easiest way would be to come forth and say that we were the ones blacklisted in the space program that nobody ever forgot about. I mean, I was on the first Voyager. Why didn't that make the news? Why is everybody else getting paid? The other thing that we know full on is that a long time ago, my Star family, and this is a lot of our stories, my Star family, the one, even some of the ones that you'd call the elite, that you think are the ones who have been doing all of this. Some of it, yeah. They were being told that they didn't know where we were. They were being told, basically, it's like, if you're ransomed and hidden down here, and you have a very rich family from even another realm who's sending money and sending power in order to go find their missing family member, well, if you find them, then the checks stop coming, right? Well, I know for a fact that a lot of the families, because I know how the contracts were supposed to work. I have all the soul contracts. So for all of us Star Crew that were sent down here, you can basically, our ancestors were sending energy and alchemy and even success, fame, whatever, and money to specific beings that were, their sole responsibility was to locate us and find us and rescue us. Thing is, the ones that were paid to do it are the ones who knew exactly where we were the whole time. the ones that were being paid to find us, once they found us and realized how we manifest stuff, decided that they want us to be their little genie and put us in a bottle. Even to the extent that I know for a fact that there is a section of my family that was told that I was being taken care of because I was getting paid to work for Elon Musk. Elon, I don't work for you. I've never been on your payroll. I've never even met you or been in a Tesla building. But this makes sense as to why I had to call Tesla from Detroit in 2021. So I know that that was a lot of information all over the place on this 11/11, but I hope that that gives everybody a glimpse into the other side of this, because when you're beings like us, there's a grounder perspective, there's a star perspective, there's an ascended perspective, and then there's an evil perspective in every single scenario. I'm gonna go for now. I love y'all. We're getting through this. If you need me to, ask your consciousness in your head to connect with me through meditation, because this is how I work with my crew. I actually can help you quicker by just calling on me and you tuning in, because when you do that, then you're getting the network of us, and just really zen out and say, Chastia, tune in. And you're not just getting me. You're getting the entire ascended collective information on what to do. In fact, most of my crew knows that there's times that they're frantic because they think they need to get a hold of me, and it's the one time that they can't get a hold of me, and it's because basically I won't allow them to get a hold of me because I know they have the answer, and it's like I'm making them see that they have the answer. They don't need me. You can do it in consciousness. It's one of these teaching. It's like a teaching tool that you can also do with other people. I'll see y'all soon. Happy 11/11 portal. This is doing one for the record books. And I'll say one more thing. I'm so glad I remembered. If you have never been to Texas, and you've been driving and you're a driver like I was, and you've been up north, and you've been to Missouri, and you've been to California, and you've been to Arizona, and you've been to Montana, but you've never come to Texas, you better get your ass to Texas, and you better fucking get here quick.